Hi, so this is a video I wanted to do to show how to rig a mechanical model in kind of a way that I just kind of found recently, and it works a lot better than what I had been doing. Um, the way that I had been using models with mechanical models is I would usually just parent an armature, and then just basically say, for example, this dish here, I would set it to that bone by it's what's called bone in when you're parenting in Blender. However, the problem with this is that whenever you bring it back, when, if say I wanted to bring this model into another program, you have to bring in the armature and all the little pieces connected to the hello there. Bring all those pieces to into that world, and then sometimes if the pieces don't line up right or they don't show up right, so you would have to have the pieces all coming to like a 0 point, and pretty much a lot of formatting issues. So I found this new way on how to combine all of these separate individual parts into one object and hook them to a armature, so that you can pretty much make this plane into all one piece and do the same thing with all the bones as one piece, and then you don't have to worry anymore. You just bring it in as one armature, one mesh. That's it. One armature, one mesh, one texture, and maybe a texture to go with that texture for a little bit extra detail. But that's it. It's kind of how to keep shit as simple as possible as you can. So here we got just doing this model for a friend. It's a EC2 or no E2C. I keep screwing that up. Or E2D, because all of the E2Cs that I found didn't have this, but they wanted the fuel probe. Anyway, who cares? But the thing is, you can see is when I grab onto this was all one model to start with, and then I cut it apart because I want to have it's going to have movable ailerons, movable elevators, and then also the flaps are going to move, as well as because it is a craft that's usually on an aircraft carrier, the wings are going to have to roll up. So I have all of these parts that are all separated, and we have, like we've got wheels, we've got just all sorts of stuff here. So this is going to be kind of hard to bring together and then use the... What I'll end up doing is I'm going to use vertex groups for each one of these parts. Now I could go and select all these vertex groups after the plane is one piece, but then that means you have to sit around forever and use the marquee tool, and you have to click on each and every vertex and stuff like that, and it's kind of a bloody drag. So the way I did this is I made the craft, the entire plane, all as one, broke it apart, and also I kind of went in, and as you can see behind here, if I isolate this wing, it also has I filled in all of the holes where I broke it apart. So the plane was originally one big mesh, and then I just cut off the parts where the wings, the ailerons were going to go, the flaps, and then went and filled in those parts so that you don't ever see like a back face or something. And then the next thing I'm going to do is for this right here, this is under vertex groups, we've got the, for example, the front of the craft is, I just have it written as plain body.v. The names for these are the same exact names that I named all the parts. So basically, so for example, this one is wing.l, as in the left side wing, because it has the two wings are separated so that they can roll up. So I'll go under vertex group, and let's see, go over here, go vertex, new vertex group, name it wing.l. And then when I press tab into edit mode and then double A so that I select everything, I'll go assign wing.l. Now if I press A again to basically unselect everything, I can actually go to select, and it highlights automatically from over here that wing now, meaning that now this wing is set up to a vertex group, and you can actually know that it's activated essentially. So what I'll have to do is I do that through all of the parts here. So let's see, we've got prop.l. Actually, oh yes, the other thing I forgot when I'm doing this, the naming system that I use, I put uppercase V. And the reason I put a V on there is for vertex. Later on, so you can see I have one piece of armature up here which will be duplicated a lot, but I basically will rename it .b so that I know that it's actually, there's a bone vertex group and a regular vertex group. And the reason why I do this double V and a B is because once I combine everything, all these parts will basically, all the vertex groups should come together and will come up as .b. The naming system is just so I can find that part versus that bone. Like some of the parts, like the wings would be pretty easy, but down here, these parts are actually kind of difficult because you have a pretty much a 4-door system that opens for the landing gears. So I actually had to call this, let's see, my landing gear is landing gear left side .l, meaning it's the landing gear on the left side of the craft, which, yeah, left side of the craft, and it is the left side landing gear door. Whereas this one is .r, so you have the left side landing gear, the right side door, and then these ones I have as L2 and L1, or R2, for the second door behind it. So this is, you get kind of, when you have a craft or something like this that has lots and lots and lots of parts, this stuff can get rather tricky. So anyway, just going to go and copy prop.l over to vertex group, paste .v. So now I have, and then I just have to highlight, assign, select. So now that one is ready. And another one thing I will do as well as while I'm doing this, so that I know that I've actually already finished or I've done a vertex group on this sucker, I'm just going to go H to hide that separate part. So I've got the wing, going to hide that. I've already done the plain body before doing this. I started doing and then I was like, I should probably do a tutorial on this because it just came in really handy on like a last project I did. So So here we've got wing.r, highlight that, v sign. And I'm not going to go over all of these where I'm going to assign and check them. Just going to go, so we have, just trust that I assigned it all right. So aileron right. Aileron.v. You always have to, I wish you could just assign them by, clicking on that object, but it seems like you have to press tab and then assign, otherwise they don't assign right. Hide that. These are going to be kind of fun to animate later because I actually have, let's see, we've got body flaps and then flap R, because the wing actually splits. It rolls back so that you can actually store the craft easier. But they actually don't actually move the same way as an aileron does. Or they do, but depending on how you're using them. I think the flaps, normally they can go down, or I've seen some of them where they kind of do this kind of a roll back, which I think that's how this one does too, because where it sits on the engine, that'd be kind of hard just to push down. So okay, hide. Hide. Alright, looks like I already have the dish, so I'm just going to press V on that one. Or I have it in, but I didn't actually assign it, so it's a good thing I checked. Okay, almost done. V. And we have vertical stabilizers back here. And the naming system I did for that was out verticals, because we have outer and then inner. Okay. With the inner stabilizers. Sun, hide. So did I name these? Elevator dot R. B. The other reason why, even though some of these parts you actually won't be able to see very well, I mean the back of the elevators here, since they're going to be moving up and down, you probably would never see them, but I'm kind of creating this also so that you can crash it and pieces can fly off. So that's kind of part of the reason why I kind of go into some of the details that are on here. Unnecessary detailing is not a bad thing usually. I always figure you can always have more details than you need because you can always take them off if you want. Okay, this is the tail hook, but I haven't named it. Hook, not hook. The other thing about this method is that it doesn't really matter at all where these pieces are, because right now the hook doesn't actually tilt where the hook would tilt, it actually tilts right here. So because of where these are all at, it doesn't actually matter, because the bones, the vertex groups will all be moving in accordance to wherever the bone is moving, not in accordance to where the center point of any of these objects are. Fuel probe. D. The only thing that I haven't really done detail-wise is actually the landing gears. They're not made to actually do suspension. I might go and redo them later. Mainly I just got doing the wheels and stuff kind of is annoying as hell. So I haven't really done those very well, and the wheels don't yet move. So I don't know if I'm going to break the wheels apart to make the move yet, I'm not sure. And it looks like I also forgot to turn off mirror modifier on these. Okay. And also kind of keeping things low poly on this, just because this is a lot of parts for a plane. What I'll probably end up doing is I'll bake a higher poly texture onto it to make it look a little better later, but for now I'm just keeping everything low poly anyway. Oh, the guy, yep. I think the funny part with aircraft and me is that I kind of hate landing gears. And also, if you ever play flight sims, they're the first thing to break off anyway. But I like, I think if I create my own flying craft, I want to add, specifically add like sleds to it, kind of like from Star Wars, from the land speeders, just because I hate landing gears. Okay, almost done. These ones, it looks like I didn't name. Let's see, I'll go back over these ones. The sign, hide, copy, paste, the highlight, sign, hide, copy, paste, dot b, sign, highlight, hide. sign. And then the front here, which I probably am going to have to change the size of this because this looks a way bit too big compared to some of the pictures I've seen. I'll have to just shrink it in a little bit, but it doesn't matter. I can do that. Actually, I can Alt unhide. This is the blueprint that I used for the craft. Actually, I have an easier way of making these a little bit slimmer. I'll monkey with that later on, but I'm going to come back to these. So anyway, let's see, what should I name this? Front gear door. B sign. And then let's see, front gear door .r. B sign hide, and then I'll just go copy that, paste that again, except .l, and paste that .b, and assign. Alright, so I'm going to just go unhide everything left, and now the fun part, selecting all of the aircraft here. Let's see, should be able, press J, now everything is joined, and it's all the entire name of the plane, all of the names that I'd made kind of went away. They just, now the whole thing is called plane body because this right here, the fuselage, is now what's considered like the primary part of this aircraft, but I'm going to change it to E2C. So now that this whole thing would be called E2C, and then over here under vertex groups, I'm going to press Shift Spacebar. This will make this into one giant screen. You can see every one of those vertex groups for all of the different parts are now set up under all of these different vertex groups. So all the names that I made earlier are still there. They're just now here. And each one of them has the V next to it so that I know that that's just that vertex group. So now, say if I were to highlight this, the whole craft opens up now as one big piece. It's just one, one craft. All of the landing gears are connected to it, etc. But if I go to a plane body.v and I hit select, it will select only the plane's body, but the wings and everything else is taken apart, so it doesn't actually go with that. So, let's see, what I'm going to actually do, set origin of this craft to, let's see, origin to geometry. Yeah. And the only reason I'm just kind of doing that is now I'm not sure if this is exactly where the plane would actually tilt, but usually when you set it to the geometry, it's pretty good on just where to sit. So then I'm going to take this, I've got one single bone here. Let's see, where do I want to set that? So if I select the plane, it'll go to the center of geometry. I'm going to go and press, let me see, actually Control Save, it's a good idea anyway, and then Shift S, and I'm going to go cursor to selected, and that will bring the cursor to the center of the plane. Then I'll go and take this bone here, and I'll go selection to cursor, and you can't see it, but it automatically moves the bone right to the center of the aircraft. And now I got to kind of think of where do I want to stick this bone, because if I rotate it, I think it would just work if I go rotate 90 degrees. So now the bone is sticking up. It is sticking through this, but it won't matter because when you render this, you can't see the bone anyway. But it's just the real reason why I leave a bone there is it's a grabber. It's something that you can grab on to animate. So now I'm going to go and for that bone, I don't know if I'm going to name that bone, but I'm going to go under, let's see, how did I do this again? So, let's see, I haven't done this in a while. I'm currently working on doing a little movie, so I haven't actually been doing as much with this stuff. Okay, is that? Plane body select. Oh yeah, let's see, I'm gonna go take this, then I'm gonna hit the bone, and then I'm gonna go, let's see, with empty groups. And that just means this bone will really do, it's going to be stuck to the plane, but it actually has no group, I believe, for it. So now so this one is just simply called bone, and it is now in the group. So when I click on the craft and I go select, let's see, plane, select, then I go down to the bone, assign. Now the bone should be controlling that button, that should only be controlling that piece. And I think just because this is all one piece, it's following it, which means you need more bones. So I'm going to go and, now first the other thing under vertex groups, because this is going to get out of hand with a lot of damn bones and not knowing what bone is what bone, I'm just going to change this to bone dot plane body dot b. So now I know that is a bone, and that is this bone here. And then what I'll just end up doing is also naming that bone plane body so that I can find it again. And now we need some more bones. So let's see here. Let's say I need a bone to control the dish itself. So in that case, I'm going to select that, and right in the middle where the basically Blender says the geometry is, I'm going to go Shift S again and go cursor to selected. So now the cursor is right on the center of where those pieces are. And then this bone, let's see, I believe, yeah, we're in edit mode. Let's see if this will work. I'm going to call this, the whole rig, I'm just going to call E2C rig. And then for this bone, cursor to selected, let's see, no, selected to cursor, there we go. So now this piece just moved there, and let's see if I can get it to work. Also now if you hit select under plane.b, it now shows that this bone is now in control of all of this. So technically, if I wanted to, I could delete that .v for the plane, but I'm actually going to leave it there just because it might come in handy in case I have to delete a bone later on. I think the way I did this the first time was that I made up an entire rig first. I can't remember exactly. Empty groups. Alright, there we go. So now dish bone is now in there. It just hasn't been set up. So now I just gotta go to, let's see. First, this thing right here, I have a group that has no name. I'm just a little bit like, what the hell is that? So I'm gonna hit group, selection, group has no selection. Yeah, so if group has no selection, I don't really see a real reason why I should keep that. So I think I'm just going to delete this because I don't think that'll bother anything. But right now I have, since you select dish, nothing comes up. So I just have to go and find out of my list here. This is kind of the really long part, but it really pays off later on. So I go to dish v, select, then dish, and assign dot v. And now, if I go into pose mode, and I select this, and I move it, the dish should be moving, but it's not. What the fuck? You, and then parent to you, keep offset. So this should be parented. Okay, it's not connected for some reason. Select. Okay. If there it is. I don't know why, but so now technically you can actually lift the dish right off of the craft now. And you can see underneath it, I didn't finish that. I just went up a little bit into it so that if you're looking from underneath, you can still see it. But now I have essentially a controller that I can animate the dish doing 360, and it will stay there and crash. But for that, I could actually simply just go to the rotations and just get rid of, see, this is on local axis. On global axis, I'll just get rid of the X and the Y. And now okay. It shouldn't be doing that. I don't know. Anyway, I'll have to fix this later. I'm not sure why, but usually it shouldn't be moving on those axes if you lock them off. Anyway, this is pretty much, though, the entire gist of it is taking each and every single bone here. So then I'll go copy this off. Now it's still parent to that bone. And then I'll just have to pick a new spot. So for example, we'll do propeller blades. So I'll just go into here, go to, let me see, it's called prop.lv, select, so that's the other one. So just go cursor to selected, selection to cursor, and then let me see, rotate, -90, so it's going forward. And then I'm just going to scale this down to about there. And then I'll name the bone. Prop.l. .b. Ah, shoot, that's in pose mode. So I'm in pose mode. I'm going to go clear transform all. Select all, clear all. Reason why I want to keep, you want to make sure that you are not in pose mode when you're doing some of these, because it will really screw things up later on. So let's see, I'm going to move this, and that's because it is in edit mode. What will happen when I go and move this, let's see, cursor. However, if I go and try to just rotate it, it rotates on the wrong area. Let's see, I think I can, nope. So to fix this in a way that's a little bit, well, I wish it was simple. I can go and select there, move cursor to that nose of that prop, select the top, selection to cursor, and it instantly moves there. So now you can see the bone is actually now on the cursor, but it's sticking not in the right spot. So you just have to go click on that little ball and just move it out a little bit. And then I just go to empty groups again. Select this plane. Now prop.l.b is now there. Wish there was a way to set these up in like alphabetical order or something. I thought there was. Here we go, prop.v. Just gonna hit a select to make sure I have the right one. And then I go back up to prop.v, or prop.l.v for bone, and assign. And now when I go to the rig in pose mode, that propeller is now there. And I go from the front and rotate it, it rotates nicely. The nice thing about this method is even though it takes a lot longer to set up, this is one complete mesh. Meaning if you bring it into if you were to bring this, for example, into Unity or something like that, and you already have animations set up for it, they're already assigned to the vertex so that you only have to bring in one object. You don't have to bring in multiple objects that are connected. And the other thing is, since these are all going to be parented to each other, let's see here. That should be moving with the rest. The plane should be moving with that. Hang on a second. Okay, this is strange. So when I grab the plane is connected to the rig, and since the plane is one piece, it follows wherever the rig goes. But for some reason, when I go into pose mode, the parts are connected so that they actually are following this, which is parented to that, because this is supposed to be the plane body, but the plane body should actually be following this as well, which is why I'm a bit confused at the moment. There we go. I somehow ended up having two of the same, that plane body.b And I think one of them is actually the vertex and not the bone. So somewhere I screwed up my naming, which is not hard because I'm dyslexic and I do that a lot, which is why I'm somewhat... No, it actually says there is a plain body.v somewhere around here. Yeah, here it is. So I don't know what you are, but you're going away because I don't need you. Yeah. So all I have to do is create a bone for each and every individual part of this aircraft, and then assign it, and that means whatever I want to do animation-wise, it will do it, because I can do it with the posing, because it's going to operate every single part of the plane. Very kind of a simplistic way. But it is very, very, very nice. This method is awesome for if you're doing basically mechanical things, where before mechanical was a little bit kind of hard, where I could make creatures, but I couldn't make mechanical things because they had so many moving separate parts that are not touching each other. Well, now this way, now I can do stuff like that. So I just hope maybe somebody learned something from this. It's a very nice method that I think about, basically creating things and then just being very simplistic to bring them into a program as one chunk piece and having a rig to operate them. But anyway, that's pretty much it. There's a lot more to putting in the detail on how to get this all to work, but that's going to be a long time, so and I don't want to be talking on video all day. So anyway, have a cool one. Ciao.